Warning: the opinions expressed on this particular podcast are the opinions of the hosts and the guests alone. They do not represent the Army, the police, or anything else. Simply our opinions, no one else's. Thank you and enjoy before I forget.
Hey, Tyree,
Hey, what's up?
you have a podcast, right?
Yeah, I have a podcast. It's called Before I Forget. It's on every Monday and Thursday morning.
Did you know about Anchor?
Yeah, I know about Anchor. That's what we use to distribute our podcast.
Did you know that it has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer?
Yeah, I knew about all that stuff, and we use it every single time for every single show for editing, right on our phone and right from our computer.
Did you know you can distribute your podcast on different listening platforms?
Yeah, we knew about that. We use Anchor to distribute our podcast to Apple Music, Spotify, and tons of other different platforms everywhere across the world.
Did you know that Anchor is free?
I knew it was free because if I had to pay to use stuff, I wouldn't use it.
I did it this time.
Hey.
I guess I was already using it, but yeah.
So, welcome back to Before I Forget. This is Tyree and Kevin.
Hey.
We're waiting on Mr. Stamper so we can continue our conversation.
This is we should point out that this is immediately after the last recording.
Yes.
And man, I haven't talked to Stamper in so long, so it's real, man. He's a fun fucking guy.
He's a good dude.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's one of the few people that you can kind of not talk to for a minute and then just talk to him and it's like you never miss the conversation.
Yeah. Yep. It's all there.
And on the flip side, like you want to have conversations with him because he's just a fun person. So you miss the times that you don't talk to him.
Well, and I'll tell you, dude, like of all the shows that we've been doing, right, talking to folks that I haven't talked to in a minute, like Doc and Rob and Youngblood. Well, fuck even Mike. I've talked to him a handful of times over the years, and shit, dude. Even you, because you and I talk pretty regularly. I'd say, and I mean, off and on, we might go a little bit without talking or whatever, but because that's how life works. But I mean, dude, this has been such a great experience, man. To do this and reconnect with everybody and put these stories out there, and I really, I love the impact that it's having for folks that listen, but on a more personal level, I love that we're all able to reconnect and be able to do all that again. I really hope that soon we can have a true reunion of some type, and get together and have everybody there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would be cool, man. I mean, it's just the way times are right now with the whole fucking COVID stuff, and some people don't want to travel, and some people can't travel, and everyone's spread out across the country.
World.
Yeah. It's a little tough, but on the flip side, man, it's not hard for us to get together on one of these Zoom kind of calls and shoot the shit. I know that we did it once before.
Yeah, and it's got to be. I don't know that I was on that. I think I was doing drill sergeant stuff at the time, but I feel like it's got to be pretty hectic with all of those people on there. I mean, like every time. I mean, it's a lot better when you're all in a room together or a tavern, bar, or whatever, and you're all able to fuck off.
That'd be awesome.
And I don't know if you know, but Clifton's trying to get that a Spada reunion going for 2025 in Germany.
Oh yeah. I keep up with what he's got going on. Shout out to Clifton.
Yeah. So it would be, man. I don't know how many people are in on that, or even.
I mean, 2025. You can start saving now, I guess.
Yeah, man. I'll buy my tickets today. Oh, actually, you can't. Did you know that you can't buy your airline tickets over a year out?
What?
Some shit.
It's silly.
Yeah, it's nonsense.
Yeah. But I would totally be down for a reunion. I I tried to, and yeah, I tried to. It just didn't work out when we were in Vegas. Like, got busy with stuff. But I mean,
yeah, you were there.
I was there.
Yeah, but busy.
Quite busy. Yeah, and I'm sure if we planned something out, we would invite our guys exclusively.
Yeah,
not knocking anybody else or none of that kind of stuff, but I mean, if I want to go to a reunion of guys, I want to know that my guys are going to be there. You know?
Yeah, for sure. Well, dude, and I tell you, you're living in the wrong part of the country because there's a lot of us down this way.
I know that, but I'm not leaving California, so stop trying.
What if it falls into the ocean?
Cali.
If it falls in there and then down, I'll go down with the ship.
Dang.
I'll just die. That's it. That's the end of it. I'd
Is
rather
that
die than go to. No. I would consider going to Nevada, or
really?
Colorado. I would. I mean, it's still West Coast, but
No,
Colorado.
man, you ought to see the real part of the country. It's fucking beautiful over here.
I like Washington.
That'll go in the ocean.
Washington's pretty sweet little country. I mean, state.
Stanford. You know that
I'm here.
if you probably
What'd you say?
Sorry,
Yeah,
I got random ass phone call. You know this being from random ass Alabama.
Yep.
The New Madrid fault line. You familiar with it?
The fault line?
No. Stop. Hold your horses.
What?
Hold your horses.
I ain't
We're
got
not
no
going to
horses.
get into the fault line conversation. We're going to finish with Stamper's story because.
Well, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's the same story.
No. Stamper.
Yo.
We're in Iraq.
Are we on?
Yes, we're on.
Oh, okay.
We're in Iraq, and where are you staying? What is your sleeping situation?
Okay, we first rolling in Iraq. First rolling in Samara. So the very first night we're rolling in, let me get this out of the way. I don't know if y'all remember this. I had to switch because I was just getting exhausted, I guess. So I had to switch from the driver's seat to the back. So I don't know who's driving now. But anyway, so I got my weapon. It's pointed out the window, of course, like we're supposed to be doing. And all of a sudden, this big gush of wind comes in. Now, I wear contacts. So I wore contacts all the way through basic training, man. You're not supposed to be allowed to do that. But I was like, I'm not wearing the BCGs, man. I mean, or BGC. Yeah, BCGs.
The birth control
glasses.
Glasses.
I was, somebody would have had to kill me, man.
You wear glasses?
Anyway, I don't wear glasses. I wear contacts.
I saw a picture of you in glasses once. It was special.
Yeah. It is special. I don't wear them very often. But anyway, yeah. So, when I first started having eye issues, I was about 15 or 16. I just told my mother, I said, I'm not wearing glasses. And she's like, okay, well, you're going to have to, stick your finger in your eye. I said, no problem. Just give it to me. So anyway, ever since then, I've been wearing contacts. And anyway, I made it through basic training with that. That's another story. But anyway, we're rolling in there. We're probably about 15 minutes away from Samara, about getting to our objective. And a big gush of wind comes in through the window. And kid you not, there it goes. The right contact comes out. And I can feel it, man. It's like on my eyelash. And I'm like, oh, dude, this sucks. Like, this cannot be happening right now. So I get my little, red lens flashlight like everybody has from basic training. And I got it, and I can feel it on my eyelash. So I'm like, maybe I can just pop it back in real quick. So I did. Well, I thought, oh, man, that was a close one. Good to go. So we get to Iraq. We get to our Connexes. And basically all we got is a sleeping bag. So I put my sleeping bag down on this hard floor Connex. And I don't know how to really explain a Connex to everybody, but it's just, y'all know how it was. It was just
it's a shipping. It's a shipping container.
Yeah, a shipping container with an air conditioner heater in it. Yeah. So a small one.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we get that. We're all wore out, so we go to sleep. I wake up the next morning, and dude, I've got pus like coming out my eye, and
Oh, I
like,
remember.
what is going on with this? So anyway, I'm just like, whatever, man. You got to get over this. Just just be cool. Well, it did not. It did not get any cooler. It got worse and worse. And finally, I had to go to the medic. Man, I forget which medic I went to. It wasn't Doc at the time, Skilling. It was somebody else that we had attached to us. And I was like, hey, man. And I had these goggles on. Like, I wouldn't walk around without these goggles on because that's how bad it looked. I mean, it was awful. So anyway, so I'm just like, hey, I got this eye condition. He's like, yeah, man. He's like, it's cool. We just, I'll give you some drops or something. So he's like, let me check it out. I was like, you sure? He's like, oh, man, I'm a medic. So I pull my goggles off. He's like, oh, dude, you look jacked up, man. And I try to tell you, bro. I said, don't make it any worse than what it is. And he's just like, dude, you're going to need some type of ointment to put up in your eyeball. And I was like, whatever you got to do, man. I don't care what it is. I'll stick a stick in my eye right now just to get rid of this thing. So I'm going to the chow hall, man. I've got this goo all up in my eye, and I got this huge bulging, looks like a huge zit on my eye, just pus coming out. And I'm like, dude, I'm not going to sit here with these guys and eat in front of them like this. So I'm like wearing those goggles that are like, sunglass goggles, huge. They're like the dust goggles that we had or whatever they're called. I don't know. They're huge, man.
The ESS
I'm eating like that. Yeah, I'm eating like that. Everybody else is normal, and there I am sitting with these big old goggles and eating at the chow hall table. And everybody's like, hey, man, what's going on?
What's the deal? Yeah. Is he good? I remember Phillips even hit me up. He's like, hey, man. Stamper's got pink eye.
That's what it was like.
I'm like, no, man, he got pink eye. I know it had something to do with his contact, but I just remember he's got pink eye.
Yeah, the only thing that goes through my mind, man, is like we got to go out on a mission, tonight, and here I am with this big, huge, bulging eye, just gooey eye. Anyway, so anyways, that resides, that gets better, and so I remember going out on our first missions. I think we're doing night missions, the very first. And I was actually the appeal Lieutenant Gunther's driver at the time. Our Bradleys weren't there, so we were driving Humvees. And finally got up armored. So we're driving those, and I don't know if we were doing well, I guess we're just doing missions on our own. I can't remember. I can't remember doing a left seat ride, right seat ride, whatever. But anyway, I remember the lieutenant being in there with me, and I remember the first contact that we had. And that was that night when I guess somebody hit I don't know if it's an IED or if it was like a
landmine.
Landmine. Okay, yeah. I think we were a few streets over. If I'm not mistaken, it was in the 3rd platoon that got hit, I believe it was. But anyway, Lieutenant Gunther's like, hey, man, we got to get there. And I was like, all right, Roger, sir, just tell me where to go. And he's like guiding me. So we pull up and we come up on it pretty quick. Well, we don't know where it happened exactly. I saw some smoke and stuff, but I didn't know exactly where it was. None of us did. So we're like rolling up in there as fast as we can. And all of a sudden, man, we're getting shot at. I mean, we're getting shot at straight up. Epling's on the 50 cal, and we're getting shot at, and we know it's our own guys. Well, man, radio them, tell them to start. I'm putting in reverse. I'm like backing up, and then beside us is the National Guard unit that was attached to us. They're on the left side of us, or someone's on the left side of us in a Humvee too. I kid you not, the guys jump out and get behind the tires. And for a split second during that chaos, I remember thinking, what are you doing? And so I'm putting it in reverse while I'm looking at this guy like, you're an idiot. So I'm just, just pulling it back. And we're just, and then all of a sudden they stop and they realize, it was friendly. So I just couldn't believe that guy got out. I mean, it was one of those times where you just had that, you talked about it earlier, KJ. You talked about the slow motion effect. I had that happen just a few times in Iraq, but that was one of them. It was like a slow motion, seeing the guy get out, get behind a tire, I don't even know why he got out of his Humvee. I mean, I was just like, what do you know, why would you do that? But anyway, yeah, so we found out, you know, it was friendly and all that kind of stopped, and we came back, and I took an actual video of the Humvee the next morning. I still got that video, and just trying to explain the what had happened. And we had we had rounds in our hood.
Yeah. So
yeah.
you were driving Lieutenant Gunther.
Yes.
I was sitting right behind you then.
Okay, but you probably you might have been in our Humvee. Epling was he was like on a 50 cal or either 240 or something, whatever is in the turret there.
Yeah, so because we had on that Humvee, I remember there being 2 direct hits, one through, I believe it's like an air filter or some bullshit on the passenger side, and then one, like or maybe it's 3 hits, like one through the hood, but I know one hit just on the top of the windshield.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound familiar?
Yes, I mean it was multiple. It wasn't like they unloaded on us, but they definitely shot at us several times.
So the dismounts,
he was ducking, man.
So
I'll never forget Epling.
Oh yeah, man. No, from what I remember, the dismounts off to our left, I could have swore was Sergeant Gill's squad.
Well, I called one of them an idiot. I don't know which one it was that got behind that tire. I kid you not. Somebody jumped and got behind the tire.
It was probably Sergeant Gill, man.
That shot first?
No, that he called an idiot.
Oh, that guy behind the tire.
Somebody jumped out.
No, I remember Sergeant Gill saying that when that shit went down, that he and his squad got on the ground and tried to get as low as possible, hiding behind, whatever the fuck they could, which, out there in the open wasn't nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, we were just on it. It was just a dirt road pretty much right there in the middle of the city. I mean, we didn't know. I didn't know anything about the city at the time. None of us really did. We were new guys, and I guess they were trying to figure us out because they
well, that was that's absolutely right. Yeah, the paths had changed, and they weren't familiar with the Big Red One, and that's where Easter Sunday comes into play.
Yes,
because the landmine that the Abrams ran over was just random placement, random impact. You know what I mean? Like just hit it, boom. That's that. That wasn't as intentional as our next major event. Sorry, my dog is going crazy. That's the next major event over there, which was Easter Sunday.
Definitely. Yeah. I remember that well.
What were you doing? What was going on then?
Okay, I was in the back of the. Hey, I was in Bradley's at that time, and it was like y'all said in earlier episodes, it was the National Guard unit that got hit with a 5-ton, the open 5-ton.
Yep.
And of course, we didn't know that's what it was at first. We just knew that they had come in contact. We had actually just had dismounted and was doing a patrol down a street. I mean, had just started the patrol, and then that happened, and then we're mounting back up and going over to where their location was. And I think I was in Sergeant Baggett's Bradley, because Doc was with me. Doc was with us. He was in the Bradley with us. He was close to the hellhole, as they call it.
Yep.
And and I don't know who the driver was. It may have been Dougie Fresh. I can't remember. But
yeah, if it was Sergeant Baggett, it was Dougie Fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we pull up, and it's just chaos, man. I remember somebody's like, "Should we?" We could hear, in the back of the Bradley, some of the commands that were being given, and some of the conversations that were going on, and everything through the radio. And you could hear like, should we drop around? Should we drop? I remember Doc's like, "You better not drop this round, bro." He was going off, man. And I was just kind of like sitting there, and I thought, well, it looks like we're fixing the nightmare's fixing to start.
Yeah.
So yeah, we actually, they didn't drop around. They shot, and y'all gonna have to help me out now. I'm losing my military bearing on certain things, especially terminology. But like in the back of the Bradley, they have the little I don't know, little windows back there that kind of,
yeah.
so you can see out. Just, I
Yeah,
mean, just a little bit. I mean, it's probably
yeah,
like, I don't even know if
yeah.
it's
The
6
ports, like
inches, but
they're
yeah.
like a periscopic ports.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I remember I could see out one of those, and I could see like behind the Bradley. And I can't remember if we had already dismounted by this time and cleared a house and mounted back up, but we were somewhere where I could see First Sergeant Salinas Humvee behind us, and I can't remember who their 50 cal gunner was, and it may not have been his Humvee, but there was like 2 or 3 Humvees back there. And like I said, it's kind of vague on this part, but I'll never forget seeing First Sergeant Salinas reaching over the hood with his 9mm. And like, I mean, he's just like, you can tell he's just screaming. I don't know what he's yelling at him, but he's got his Glock there in the sideways position, like the gangster type of hold, and pow, 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 you know. I'm just like,
That is
this guy,
hilarious.
man? He has changed, and he was just popping them off. But I remember that RPG coming and hitting. I could see this. I remember seeing the Humvee being hit, and I didn't know where it had been hit. I just, all you saw was smoke all of a sudden. And I forget who was on the 50 cal, but somebody was up on that 50 cal, and I just thought, when I saw that happen and I saw the smoke and everything, I thought for sure. I thought, man, somebody's dead, man. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Mm-hmm. And as it continued, the person that was in, up there in the little turret part it's almost like they had like came out of it and done like a backflip roll off of the Humvee. And I was like, daggone, man, he's fine. He's cool. And I was like, what a move, man. That's a pretty good maneuver there. And, the stuff that you do in combat, you just, it's unbelievable. But I just remember that's one thing that stuck out to me on Easter Sunday. It was just seeing him come out of that top, man, and doing that like that little that backflip roll maneuver he did. I don't even know if he remembers doing it, but I remember seeing it. So, but I remember that, and everything else was just kind of, we did dismount and had to go clear a building. And then while we were sitting outside the courtyard of that house, there was some mortar rounds that were being fired pretty close by. I remember that. And then I remember going back to Brassville Mora and us kind of regrouping and going back in that night. And, that was a pretty long firefight. I forget how many hours that lasted. I want to say King might have even said it was like 19 hours. No, it was
a full day. From what I remember, it was about 24 total hours.
Yeah, it was a long one, and that was our first big, if you want to call it, organized firefight.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely. That was the tactics of the people we were fighting at the time. That's what they would do. New patch, new unit. Inexperienced soldiers, let's see what they got and let's fill them out. And so they were basically doing to us what we did to them during the probing missions that led up to Operation Baton Rouge. So we were trying to figure out how they operated, where their defenses were, how they defended things, how they responded. And it's kind of wild to think about in retrospect, because obviously, like in any mission, that when you do an after action review, you can always point out things that you could have done better. But for us, for that being our first like true combat experience, our test, essentially, like we did pretty fucking good, man, because I mean, again, like the Bradleys didn't dismount us when we didn't need to be dismounted, right? They engaged when they needed to be engaged. There was no overkill really on anything. Communication was on point, either on radio or on the ground. Yep. I mean, like from my perspective and from hearing the stories from other folks, like there really wasn't a lot that we could have done better. throughout that whole engagement. Yeah. So, I mean, you think about it, man, like it's insane. And again, like you could take it all the way back to, you know, 02, 03 and our training and our getting to know each other and how we all reacted in some situations and our communication, our training, blah, 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 et cetera, and so on. And Tyree, and you can definitely attest to this, right? Like you understand, like, okay, training in an environment like, you know, like obviously military, we all have that experience with the military, but like you move on to be in the LAPD, where, you know, you're dealing with like real life, real world situations, not just every day, but like potentially, I mean, every call that you're on is a completely different, new and real world situation that you have to address and figure out. And the best way for you to navigate those, sometimes is through some type of training.
Yeah, pretty much. It's all muscle memory.
Yeah.
When I was doing training, when I was in the academy, the instructors would be like, "Are you taking this seriously?" I'm like, "Yeah, I am, but I've done this so much I can do it backwards, blindfolded, you know, standing on my head." It's like I'm taking it seriously. It's just that's how I operate. I'm not gonna get overhyped about things like this. Like,
Right.
This is easy for me. This is
And that's an important detail because, you know, you get folks, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of on a tangent because, you know, drill sergeant trainer, blah blah blah, but like, so a lot of people tend to look at training as this again, this again, this again. So just recently at Mike's wedding, actually, I had the opportunity to speak with a guy who is a special forces dude who works in a group somewhere in the U.S. I'm not gonna, you know, say any specifics, right? Because of, you know, obviously what they do, anonymity and all that good stuff.
yeah,
But one of the things that he and I talked about, one of the things that he says that separates the regular forces from the special forces is repetitive training, like doing the same thing over and over and over and over to the point where it's just like, oh my God, like you were saying, this again. Because when it comes down to real world shit, when it comes down to like it really happening in real life, there's no thought process, right? The only real thought process is like, okay, what's different about this than what I know in training? And then you just react, you just initiate, you engage, you just do. and that's the point of it. Like, so special forces guys, SWAT guys, all these elites, right? Like they're just really, 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 really good at the absolute basics.
yeah.
It was a really great conversation with the guy. But yeah, so I think when it comes to us, I mean, obviously we're not special forces. We're just regular dudes doing, you know, shit.
Yeah, we
but
got
like,
to work with some.
we did. Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
But I think the thing about us that helped us out, because Easter Sunday, for folks listening, man, I mean, if you listen to previous episodes, like Easter Sunday was the day that our mettle was truly tested. And I think we proved ourselves beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Off their cherry.
Yeah. I think we proved ourselves beyond a shadow of a doubt how well we can handle whatever it is they had, because whatever they had, they threw all of it at us. And not only did we kick ass, but we fucked them up. And I say that. Yeah.
I think that's important to remember is for me personally, it was very cool to see the big machine working.
Yeah.
It was very cool to see all the training that we put in, all the drills, all the long
together.
running. It's all the long everything that I complained about, all that stuff forming together, and then boom, we're in the middle of this and we're tested and we strike back hard, and we do well. And it wasn't even I wasn't really afraid at any point during that entire day. I wasn't. Once we really got into working, I mean, I was afraid I'd get hit by some stray shit.
Yeah,
That's just how things went. But
No, I was comfortable with what we were doing. Like, it felt good. I knew things were working out because I could hear them working out. I could see things going properly.
Yeah.
It was a good feeling. So, everyone
Yeah.
pulled their weight. It was cool.
I mean, we've said it before 1,000 times, man, but like, I feel so fucking lucky and fortunate to have deployed with the group that we deployed with, man. Like, you guys, like,
yeah,
you may. So here's the best way I can put it. Like, even if you didn't directly save my life, right? Our experiences and our training and our closeness, our relationship being so tight and so what it was, that saved all of our lives. I mean, it was insane. I can't harp on that enough. I really can't. I know every episode we end up talking about that, but it's true. It's absolutely true.
I'm willing to bet if somebody takes some money and does a study on units, the amount of time that they're together as a group, as a whole, before and after deployments, I wonder where we would rank, like with our contact, casualty count, all that kind of stuff, bullet count even, because they count all that shit back then too.
Well, I mean,
where would we be in that whole thing?
Well, you look at some of these special units, right? Like all the units in the special operations community, and if you're in a special forces group, you're in that group for years, right? You don't PCS. You don't go from 7th group to 5th group to, 1st group. You stay where you are, right? Yeah. Same with the SEAL teams. You might jump from East Coast to West Coast to this or that or whatever. But my understanding of how they even operate is they stay within their team because they know each other. They have this built cohesion and this framework built around how each individual operator or teammate works. And we had that.
Yeah.
And
imagine how the Army would be if things were like that for all units. Like, you're going to stay with this unit. You're going to stay with these guys who you went into basic training with. You're going to go to the same unit. You're going to stick together, continue training. Man, could you imagine?
Yeah, I would stay in Germany for 20 years. Absolutely.
Man, that'd be sweet. All right, so, hey, let's focus. Stamper.
Yeah.
Give me one of your butt pucker, oh shit moments.
I had a few of them, brother. Let's see. The very first one that comes to mind will probably be. I'm trying to think.
And also, name the guys in your squad.
Well,
team.
Yeah, I mean, the ones I had. I mean, when I rolled in, Rob kind of already answered that one on the last one, but it was me, Rob, and Hal, and then Bo Zeal.
Okay.
And that's probably, I think that's who was in the Humvee with us on the way there. Sorry, Hal, man. Yeah, he was with us driving into Iraq. But, yeah, I had later on, I was in a squad. I was in Sergeant Humphrey's squad towards the end. And that was King as a team leader, and I became a team leader. And then I had Snyder. I had Santiago. He was in my squad. I had a couple of rounds with them guys, man. They were good guys, but boy, they test that patience. But oh man. I mean, Snyder even got left at one time at Brassville Mar when we was at Uvalde. I just left him. Yeah, oh yeah, he was asleep. He didn't make it to the Bradleys, and I said, forget him, man. I ain't gonna put up with that. I said, I ain't got time for it. I'm not a babysitter. And then, sure enough, we come to Uvalde, and I almost got Article 15 for that. Yeah, Sergeant Baggett came up to me. He's like, man, you can't do that. And I said, I'm sorry, but I mean, the kid's going, he's going to have to learn. And I had him on the front. That's the only person I know of that was in the front line and rest on top of Uvalde in Iraq. I had him front line and rest probably for a good solid 15 minutes with all his gear on. I hated to do that to him, man, but dadgum. And I love him to death, but boy,
yeah,
it's a time and a place for that. It's like it's not the time for that right now, man. Come on.
I tell you, at the same time though, man, like if y'all want to know what the infantry is like, We don't fuck around. Do you know what I mean? Like, we don't fuck around.
I didn't have time.
Like, we fuck around, but we don't fuck around. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
when it's time to do something, it's time to do something. It's not time to it's not
Well, I
time
mean,
to fuck around, like you said.
your patience is, your patience is low because everybody's tired. That was close to the end of the deployment. I mean, we were all tired. We were just ill. We were brothers, but at the same time, when you're waking up beside each other 365, you just tired, man. You just kind of like, you know better than that, and you know what ticks me off, and you push that button, and like I said, I love him to death, and but he remembers. He won't forget it. I guarantee it. Santiago too, man. We had a couple of rounds, where we ended up face to face, and it was just. I think some of it though is just. I think some of it's just the heat and
Yeah.
and
Hey,
just
I
being
remember
tired.
I remember some of the guys that you're in charge of later on. They came up to me like, "Man, what is up with Stamper?" I'm like, "What the hell? What do you mean? What's up with Stamper?" It's like, "Hey, he's acting all hard." I'm like, "Dude, we're in the middle of fucking combat. Like this motherfucker, he's got a family. He's got
Well,
this. He's got that. It's not time to play around, man. Yeah, you can fuck around on the pad, but
Well,
we're
and
out
that's
there
the
in
thing,
sector.
man.
You get your shit together."
And that's the thing, right? Like, yeah, he's got family, but at the same time, if he's designated as the team leader, he has your lives to consider.
Yeah.
Well,
So
the whole thing about the frontline and rest incident. I mean, that was just, or the push up position, whatever you want to call it. That was just. I think Sergeant Baggett, y'all had actually, I forget who all was on that mission, but we were pulling security on top of Uvalde that morning. And I was away from that bunker at the time. I was checking on at another bunker, and it was Snyder's bunker, and right in front of him, man, Sergeant Baggett's Bradley runs over a landmine in a water puddle, and it was kind of hard to see because at the same time, that's before I think they blew up that bank. When the engineers or they came in and blew. I don't know if y'all remember them blowing up that bank. Okay, I think it was that the insurgents, man, they weren't stupid. They were they had a little bit of intelligence about them, and they knew that was probably like a soft area that we couldn't cover and we couldn't see, so they just dropped it right there. But now it looked terrible on us. I mean, we're up there supposed to be pulling security, and here comes not only just another military member, but it's our own. I mean, it's our platoon, and it was Sergeant Baggett at that. I mean, he came up there, boy, he was irate, man. I was like, "Hey, Sergeant, I'm sorry. It's my that guy over there." So, yeah, I didn't. Anyway, I'm sure I used some choice words at the time, but anyway, that was one reason why he was in that position, I think. But a lot of it's like you said. And we were on some supplements over there every now and then. We'd get on GNC or something. I'm sure that didn't help out with the testosterone part of us. And we're young, we're in our early 20s. So I mean, people can just imagine. So you get to that point, man, and you're hot, you're tired, you want to go home, you don't have any time for nonsense, and then somebody does something stupid. And So yeah, but yeah, they were in my squad, and they were a good squad, man. They were a good team. They were fun to work with. Hyle, man, he was cool. But yeah, we had. I'm trying to think of some of those moments you're talking about. No sound. It was I've had a few of them. Oh, okay. One is, I think Rob was talking about this, and I can kind of help out with this one particular event that happened. It was when he was talking about where we came up. I think No Sound, y'all was on the other side. And the reason you don't remember this, KJ, I think you were on another alleyway. But we had went out this day, and the lieutenant and some of our uppers, they had went into I think it's a little school, elementary school or something, but they were giving out, I don't know if they were giving out like some educational material or something. They were giving something out and just, doing the, we're here to help you. There's a better life than this right here, and going to the younger Iraqis. Mm-hmm. And we're just sitting there pulling a 360 perimeter like we normally do. And all of a sudden, I mean, I always tell people this right here when we got in firefights. I said you could always tell when something was fixing to happen. It was like the old Western television shows or the movies. You know, everything starts shutting down. Everybody starts closing up their shops. And you're just like, oh, goodness, like the wild, wild west, man. I mean, once you start to their homes and start closing the doors on their shops, you're like, well, here it comes. Just get ready.
Yep.
And that
Every
had
time.
happened during that time. They were in there and we're pulling security. And sure enough, we get a call with the radio. I mean, and they're just kind of like, hey, get ready. Everybody's closing up their shops. And we're just like, oh, goodness. So we just kind of sitting there just waiting. And all of a sudden we get mortared. And we had to cross to a different section of the city. That was the worst thing, man, about being over there is that you couldn't just say, well, they shot a few rounds off at us. You know, we're good. Let's continue with the mission. It was just like everything stops and you go to it. So we go over there to it and we all line up. They had us all on different alleyways or different alleys. And we're trying to move up to the end of each alley to the next main road that's running between those alleys. And as we come up, and I've never understood this about mechanized, but you know, the dismounts, you would think taking, you know, you get that 20 or 25 ton beast and roll up first, you know. But no, they take the dismounts, and the dismounts they walk up first with the Bradley either in between or behind you a little bit. So we're clearing the alleyways. And, you know, the thing about Iraq is that almost every home or every house has a courtyard, which is kind of like a dirt wall or brick or block wall around their home. So you can't see what's over inside that part of that house or that yard. Well, it wasn't a yard. It's just like a dirt yard. But almost every house or home has that. So you don't know what's going on the other side while you're walking down those walls. And we get to the end of that alley, and I'm setting. Y'all remember? I'll throw a shout out to Hefner. Hefner was in my team. If y'all remember Hef? Okay, Hef. He was 249. Old Hugh Hefner. Yeah, the cook, man. Anyway, he. I was sitting him down and putting his sectors together, and I was just like, you know, from sitting there, and then all of a sudden, you just hear it. I just look, like, what? I look around, there's just dust like flying up, man. So I start doing the old high step maneuver. I'm trying to get to the other side of the alley, and Helf had seen him come around. He did the old spray and pray, and he saw him kind of come around. So he had kind of eye contact. I didn't have anything. My back was turned to him because I'm sitting there trying to give him his sectors. And while I'm doing the high step maneuver, he's shooting back. Well, that's, we come up on, we go to the other side. Brown, I think y'all are on that side, man, with Absher and them. I'm not sure. But that's when the Bradley rolls up. And I don't think it was Lieutenant Gunther, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Lieutenant Wesley. Y'all remember Lieutenant Wesley, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Trip gun.
Okay. I believe it was him because this was a little bit later into the deployment. And after Lieutenant Gunther had detached from us and went somewhere else, I think he went to the mortar platoon. But anyway, he pulls up. We're like, come up here and, blast that alleyway, it's over there across the road. So that's when he does the little ghost round. Is that what they call it? The ghost rounds?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. It was one right.
Submarine. Like, torpedo.
We're like, what is that, man? Shoot that 25 millimeter. We're just like, what are you doing? It's like, doom, doom. And you're just, oh my goodness. First of all, this is terrible. The guy's obviously gone by now, probably. And then second of all, it's just embarrassing. I mean, this is embarrassing. So I guess it's during the time when I'm crossing the street with my team to go towards that alley. But firstly, we had to wait on everybody because they wanted to keep everybody online. You don't cross the road until everybody gets to the end of their alleys, just to make sure there's no type of incident or accidents happen. We didn't want to get ahead of each other is what I'm saying. So the alleyway that was shooting to us was kind of off to our left about 50 yards. So we crossed the main road, and I guess it's during the time where Lieutenant Wesley may be telling Rob to pick up the rounds, where Rob's like, man, are you kidding me? So he goes down the left side of the main road. I'm going across, and I'm going on the right side. And this is when I get we're coming up on the corner of that alley. And I kid you not, dude, that everything that could possibly happen to you, whether it be a grenade thrown over a courtyard, wall, or somebody jump over, or, just every possible way that you could think about dying goes through your mind while you're walking down those walls to get to that alleyway. And that's when you get that sick feeling. I don't know if you ever got that sick feeling in your stomach, but I started getting nauseous.
Oh, yeah, man.
And I was just kind of like, yeah.
I have fucking, what is that shit called? The acid reflux over there.
Yes. So we're coming up on that. And I don't know what it was, man, but I had a bad feeling. I just had a feeling. And Curtis was his gunner on the track. And y'all remember Kurt?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He
Crazy
was
Kurt.
Yeah. So we're coming up on that corner. And dude, I'm not gonna lie, I would not turn that corner, man. I just said this is not gonna happen today. Not me and my guys. We're not turning this corner. And
not today.
Lieutenant, not today. So Lieutenant Lewis is like, you can clear that corner right there. And I'm like, no, sir. No, sir, we're not clearing that corner. And I was like, you bring that big piece of machine you got right there and just, clear it yourself. You got anyway, I'm just like, dude, you got this 20-ton machine you can roll up here and just, you can clear it yourself, and then we can come in behind you. I said, this don't even make any sense, first of all. I said, second of all, we're going to die. If we, I knew we was going to turn, so, as soon as we turn. But anyway, sure enough, we kind of argued there for a minute, and I normally wouldn't do that, man, with a higher ranking, especially an officer like that. But I just had that gut feeling, and sure enough, man, they pull up. And you heard it, ding, ding, And I remember Kurt, after we got done, we actually got halfway down that alley, and then we mounted back up. But, yeah, they got hit a couple of times with a small arm. It wasn't much, but it was just enough. And we got back, and we always did our briefing, at the end when we always met up. And I remember Kurt coming up to me and was like, hey, man, that's a good call on that. And I was like, dude, I said, I don't know if that's a good call or not, but I wasn't clearing that corner. He was like, dude, they were just sitting there, when we came up to the middle of that alley. And I said, I knew it. I knew it. So that was one time. I always told people, the offensive side of fighting is the worst, man. I mean, I'd rather fight on the defensive side any day than on the offensive side. So, because when we were at the ODA house, man, Special Forces compound, and we were having that big firefight up there, I didn't really have that type of feeling in the bunkers and everything while we were shooting, or in the firefight. But yeah, that was one of those times. And trying to think, there was a couple more, man, that runs through my mind. I'm sure I'll think of them while we keep going. But
I mean,
but yeah,
I don't. Man, I don't know. Maybe there's something wrong with me, dude. Or maybe I just didn't give a shit as much as anybody else did. I don't know what the fuck, but I don't remember having any of those moments. I don't remember having a single moment where I was overly concerned or in fear of my own life. Not once. There was a handful of times I was overly concerned or in fear of everyone else's life or lives or somebody in particular, right? During Easter Sunday, when I remember, somebody calling over the radio that the 2-7 track had been hit. And at the time, that was, Griff was the gunner. And I just remember being, in fucking apeshit mode about, that track being down, and specifically in my mind, him being dead, right? But all of them, right? But obviously, Mike and I, we went to basic. We have a deep history. But I can't think of a single time where, I remember one time we were sitting at the OK Corral, and I had a single round, a sniper, miss me So close that it blew out my left ear. Right, like the snap of the round as it passed my head was so close that my left ear, like, it blew it out. Right.
Wow.
And my only thought was, oh, I should probably be lower on this wall. Nothing beyond that.
Let me get a little
You know what I
lower.
mean? Yeah,
almost
like
got
let me duck down just a hair, right? Like
You almost got me on that one.
You know what I think it is? Earlier you're talking about, and I was listening to a show because I listen to our show all the time, you know, before I forget, once a week. Anyway, you were saying if you're going to basic training, drink the Kool-Aid. Don't just take sips, like drink it and guzzle it.
Yeah,
I think at that point of the deployment, you had guzzled everything. It's like, here we are. You accepted everything as it comes. Because I think if you had stayed on that extra high, extra intense alert, you lose your mind out there, man. And it's tough. It's tough to stay like that.
No, I can see that for sure. But I mean, and you know, it might be more along the lines of, I mean, definitely, like, you know, like I was back and forth on whether or not I was going to stay in the Army prior to Iraq, even during Iraq and after Iraq. But like, while we were in Iraq, it never occurred to me to not be in Iraq. You know what I'm saying? We were there to do a job. We were there to operate a certain way, right? Like, you know, my life was in danger. Your guys' lives were in danger. It was our jobs to ensure our safety, right?
Yeah, everything else didn't really matter. It was
right. Yeah. Your
live
safety,
or die at this point right now.
Right.
Now.
Your safety, your guys' safety was more important to me than my safety. I remember a conversation with Heil before we left. I told him, I was like, listen, man, like, if it comes down to a situation where, like, it's me or you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be me. You have a wife, you have a kid. I have my family back home, but they've known me for, at this point, 21 years. Fuck, you know, like, you know, whatever, right? Like, but that was my mentality. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I've thought about that since then, like, a lot of times, actually. Like, I've thought about it, like, and I've wondered, am I fucked up? Am I broken mentally for not feeling that way? Do you know what I mean?
You are, bro.
No, I don't think
It's
you
just
are.
who you
It's
are.
just,
That's just the way you deal with it.
Yeah, it's what you are. What you are.
Yeah. Well, and I got to think, man. Like, you think about, like, the folks that listen and the messages that we received, and people that think about what we think about or talk about or think about what we talk about. Like, surely there's other folks out there that who were in that same boat or that same mindset or that mind frame or whatever. And it's not to say that, like, when you're there, to feel fear is bad or wrong. I just don't ever remember being afraid for my own life.
Yeah. You're kind of like a Tonto off of the 13-hour Benghazi. Or was it 13 hours? Yeah. Tonto, yeah, that's what he said. He's like, man, I never get, never really that scared. I'm just ready to go.
I mean, it really was, man. Like, man, this is another reason why I think I should have stayed active duty, because I think I might be one of those people that, like, kind of thrives on that environment. Like, I am ADD or ADHD, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And so, like, I just am capable of dealing with that world. That's why when you said that earlier, I was like, wait a second, are you ADD? Yeah. Or I say earlier, for folks listening, the last episode, go back and listen to it. But like, no, man, like, it's just a wild thought, man. And I just, I don't know. To me,
think it's just some people, everybody's different, man.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Mm-hmm. I think I value your guys' lives more than I do my own. I think I value other people's lives more than I do my own. And I think that comes along with the concept of selfless service, because Stamper, like, when you were there, you were married, right? Fairly newlywed married. But if it come down to a situation, you would have done what you needed to do.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. I think that's a very hard, difficult, or impossible pill to swallow for people who don't even who've never served.
Yeah.
Right? Because people talk about it all the time. I see it on social media all the time. I'm very active on Instagram, and I see all these fucking posts of all these fucking these folks who flex their abilities with their guns, gun bunnies and whatnot. You know what I mean? And they're just all about it and like, oh yeah, man, like this is my life. This is what I'm about. But like when push comes to shove, when you find yourself in that actual situation, what will you be? How will you be? What's more important to you, your life or the lives of the people around you? Yeah. And I think that's what differentiates, a soldier from your average Joe. And I kind of take it back to the last episode where you talk about how prior to you joining, oh man, if you join the military, you're dumb. You're dumb as shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? You were dumber than all hell. You know what I mean? But the amount of selflessness that goes into it, man, like it takes a lot.
It helped me grow up. Man,
you know what just hit me? You know what just hit me?
Yeah.
Is technically right now, officially, are we a country at war?
We are not.
Right. So the people who are joining the military now are guys like us, the way we were when we were kids. It just hit me, like just right now. Like if they are joining the military thinking, oh well, nothing's going on right now, guess what?
Well,
you never know, man.
You say that. I've got a former soldier of mine who is currently deployed in a place that we're not going to name, working with some people who do some things. But that's not to say that like when Tyree and I, when we joined pre 9/11, that's not to say that like we didn't have soldiers somewhere in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just we know that.
Yeah, it's just GWOT wasn't a thing. The global war wasn't much of a thing, but it's interesting, man. It's an interesting dynamic all the way around.
All right, so Stamper.
What is it? Okay, I got you. Hey, I got you another one. I got you one real quick.
Here it is.
Okay. Okay, I'll tell you one of those moments. I've always been asked, hey, which one, what was one of your, the scariest things or, worst things in Iraq and all this? And I said, listen, man, rockets was like top because you never knew where they're going to hit. You could hear them coming for a split second. And so we're on Brasfeld Mora. And I guess is around the first of the deployment because, we moved from Brasfeld Mora to Razor and then to Uvalde, I guess, after we got back when we got into the city. Mm-hmm. But anyways, we're on Brasfeld Mora, and I'm up at the headquarters Connex, getting ready to get on the old satellite phone, call back home. And, of course, there's always like most of the time there's a line. So I'm like maybe fifth in line or something like that. And all of a sudden, man, there comes that sound. I hear that, doop, and you just hear it, man. And you're just, you drop and everything puckers. It was, you jump on top of the person in front of you, the person on the back of you is jumping on you because you never knew. But yeah, I did not like rockets, man. They only happened, maybe, I don't know what, 3 or 4 times maybe, but yeah, that was one of the worst things. Even with mortars wasn't even that bad. As far as like the rocket, yes, the rockets were the thing where I'm just kind of like you hear that puff and then that you just hear it coming. And you're
it's just thinking,
it's coming right up. Yeah,
I think it's
coming right up your rear end, man. Yeah, that's what it felt like. It was coming right at you.
But. The difference between mortars and rockets, for folks listening, right? A mortar is launched generally out of a tube. It'll launch. It's a very specific sound, and then it travels through the air at a very high trajectory. And then impacts where it impacts based on its trajectory. Whereas a rocket is typically or generally aimed and has some type of propellant that kind of keeps it, on its track or trajectory or whatever. So for me though, like I would say mortars were more alarming, just because you really never knew if they had their trajectory worked out, right? But a rocket, you're right though. You think about it, because you hear a mortar, as soon as you hear that whistle, you know that it's gone over your head.
Yeah, you're good.
But the rockets didn't have that.
No, you just heard them coming.
Yeah,
you didn't know where they was going to land. But yeah, the way mortars, man, that was one thing that kind of stuck out in my mind about mortars. I've always thought on afterwards. I never remember the whistle sound like that. I always had the little sound. I told people, I said, it always sounded to me, those things you buy as a kid, they're like a little tube, and you turn, back and forth. And back and forth. I don't know if that's a sound, but that's what a mortar round sounded like to me.
A buzz
in Iraq. Yeah. Just it wasn't more of like a whistle. It was more like a. So I
like a hum almost.
Remember that? Yeah, I always remember that. I was like, that's not like it is in the movies. So. Yeah. But anyway, that's one thing I remember.
It is funny to not like the movies, because, man, I mean, I can't think of a single movie that really pinpoints or dials in on what combat is actually like. Because it's always glorified in some way, shape, or form, blown out of proportion, extended to some degree, et cetera, and so on. But we all understand that that's Hollywood. But I will say, man, like RPGs. And I think I said this before, but like a big semi releasing the air brakes always sounded like a launch of an RPG, and probably pretty similar to a rocket if I thought about it. Man, that used to give me jumps. I can see that. Yeah, that used to give me jumps. Yeah, I remember one time we were in Würzburg, walking out of the House of 150 Beers, and a semi had done that, had released the air brakes or something like that. And it did that sound where the air is just rushed out, and immediately I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And I'm on the sidewalk in Germany. The same shit happened to us. Remember, Tyree, when we were in the Canary Islands with the fireworks going off? Remember that?
Yep.
Yeah, dipping and dodging.
Scary Nancy's. So, Stamper,
yo,
tell me a little bit about the Golden Quran.
Okay, I don't remember that as good as y'all do. I remember y'all talking about it on the earlier podcast. I don't really remember that. I mean, it would take me back a little bit and let me reminisce, and I'll kind of tell you where I was at that time.
Well,
as far as like the the mission. I know what you're talking about. It was a night mission, right? Was that a night mission?
Yeah, it was a night mission.
Okay, it was a night mission. Okay, I remember we were supposed to go into a house and clear a house with our team, our squad, and we were at it was like the courtyard gate, I guess you could call it, like the door of the courtyard. And we're kicking it. It's like a little door. It's like a little metal door. And man, I'm kicking that thing, and I'm kicking. And that's another thing I'll tell people. I always tell people this. I said, you learn how to kick a door in when you get to Iraq. I got to the point where you don't kick forward anymore. You can do the mule kick. The mule kick always works a lot better. You just got more strength. You're never off balance. It never pushes you back. So anyway,
what's a mule kick?
There, man,
hang on a second.
What's
a mule
kick?
It's
like, it's like you standing there and you do a backwards kick instead of like a frontwards kick towards the door. Yeah, that's I call it the mule kick. Like a mule, a kick if you walk behind it. But anyway, I learned how to kick a door in that way. It was easier on when I had more strength, and it never got off. Like I said, it was never off balance. It never threw me off balance. So I'm trying to kick this door in, man, and I've kicked it like 4 times. Is it dow, man, dow, and nothing's happening. I'm like, oh, dude, man, this is embarrassing. So they're like, hey, there's a door on the the side over there. And I was like, yeah, let's try that one then. So it was either a door on the side or maybe we climbed the wall. We climbed a few walls over there. I got a real funny one about Moselle. But anyway, so we go around to the side and we find our way in. And as we go in, it's a house that has like all these big 55-gallon drums I forget what they were made of, but they were in the kitchen, and there were wires ran from the kitchen to that door, to the front of the courtyard.
Okay.
And I remember the smell too. And I remember somebody saying, "We got to get out of here." So we get out, and this might not have been the same house that Doc and all them was talking about, but this was a time to where I was like, it kind of hit you right in the middle of it. Like, maybe if you hit that, maybe if that door would have been kicked in, maybe something would have happened. But anyway, we got out of there, man. We didn't even mess around with it. We just knew there was 55-gallon drums sitting there. I don't know if there was anything in them, but I remember wires, and I remember it going to the front gate. And I was like, man, maybe something's watching over you at that time. But yeah, I don't remember that night as well as y'all do. I do remember that one that we cleared though.
So, what you're talking? We didn't even go in that house.
No, we went into the house. We got into the kitchen.
Okay.
And when we got to the kitchen, it's when we seen the 55-gallon. There were a lot of 55-gallon drums. I don't know if y'all know what I'm talking about. Like like you'd have like chemicals or something in it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we didn't sit around and like
sit there and check it out. We're not gonna sit there and smell it and fucking lick it.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what that is.
Yeah.
I don't remember the drums, but everything else is matching up, and that actually makes sense compared to like with when you think about like what we were talking about with Doc, because like the smell, wires being wired into places. I don't remember the drums though.
Yeah,
but
I remember the smell. That's a very distinct smell.
Yeah, and
I never got in there. I was still in the hole outside.
No sound in the hole.
Sitting there in the hole, man.
But that's kind of an interesting addition to that story, which kind of is part of this whole part of the point of all this. But like,
it's like I'm looking at this overhead. And I could see little bits of things. Like I could see where I am.
Yeah.
I could see where you guys are. I could see inside this room now with these drums and these wires.
Well, see,
it's like the pictures being painted.
I think there were multiple houses that were hit that night. I mean, like I said, that may not have been the one. I mean, because there were multiple. We all had different houses. You know how we do when we go in and clear a house. You say, well, we're gonna do a raid on this one house. The next thing you know, you've cleared 15 3 hours later. But so it may not have been the same one.
We had we had 3 objectives that night, and if I remember right, and I remember we got to that first house, and that was the house that had the smell with the wires and all that stuff. And we kicked rocks, and we moved into the second house, and then nothing was in there. Nothing suspicious either, from what I remember. But that's when Captain Rock kind of called it. He's like, "We're sitting here too long. This is not good." Blah blah blah. Because we'd already been ambushed. We'd already taken rockets and mortars. We've already taken small arms and RPGs.
Imagine if a rocket or mortar had hit that fucking house.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah, man, for sure. So at this point,
I don't know what was up with that house.
At this point, though. Oh no, that house was ready to blow, man.
It was
that house was, So I'm telling you, dude, like, call it what you want, like fucking God or the universe or whoever, like, we are lucky as shit that did not go down the way they intended it to go down.
You know why? Yeah. You know why it didn't?
Why's that? Because you were in a hole?
No, because we needed to be here to do this fucking show. We needed to do this show. All that stuff back then, that room not exploding, not killing all you guys, everyone having their whole lives, their whole families working out and doing whatever they're going to do up until this exact point. That's why it didn't blow up.
Man, that's a very big, not big. That's something, Tyree. We'll have to talk offline about where your beliefs lie. That's an interesting thought, man.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man.
I got wacky beliefs. So, Stamp Deal Double G.
All right. Go for it.
When did you ever take a break? Did you ever? Did you go to Qatar? Was it Qatar?
Mm-hmm.
No. I came back home. No, I remember King going to Qatar. I remember that. He showed me the SUV ride that he did.
Yeah.
No. Do you remember what happened when he came back from there?
Jog my
Did he
memory.
get blown up?
No.
Oh,
Man, he went to Qatar. It's apparently pronounced Qatar, by the way. I just recently was pointed out to that. But anyway, because
I say
Qatar,
I want to say it. Goddamn.
right? I feel you. And Qatar just makes more sense. But like Qatar, whatever you want to call it, was like the R&R place, like the 3.5 day weekend getaway, right? Sand and sun and no beach. Do you guys don't
lake?
I didn't go to that. We snuck out. We snuck off the post and went onto the economy and got shit faced with some folks. But you don't remember what happened with King?
No.
I'm standing in my kitchen like in awe right now. Because I'm in my kitchen. Y'all don't remember? He laid out at the pool, fell asleep. You don't remember?
Oh, yeah. I do remember this.
No, you got to explain this.
How do you forget this? He laid out the pool. He got like, what was it, like second, third degree burns?
Yeah, it was close.
Sunburn.
Was close to third. Yeah, it was bad.
The dude was beyond lobster red.
He was lobstered out.
Dude, beyond it. To the point where when he came back after his R&R trip, how do you not remember this? He was, if I'm not mistaken, he was given an Article fucking 15 for destruction of government property.
It was pretty serious. Yeah, it was pretty serious. It was.
They hemmed him up, man.
I do not remember that at all. Maybe as soon as he got back, maybe I went on leave. When did this happen?
I don't remember when it was. I mean, hot as fuck outside, but you know.
Okay, so I took my 2-week leave sometime in the summer, so I probably missed that.
Yeah, man. Like, dude.
Wait, I came back from leave the day before Baton Rouge started because I remember I came back to the jail that was up north.
Yeah,
he came back maybe like a week or two earlier.
Yeah,
he would have been
August.
He would have been before that, man, because he went to he did all that while we were like hands across the desert.
Yeah.
Well, this wasn't leave. This wasn't leave home. This was the R&R trip to Qatar.
It's like what most of the single guys did. Majority of them that went on. They got R&R.
Okay, you didn't go. Y'all didn't go to both.
I came back to the States.
I came
back to the States for 2 weeks in August.
So you never went to Qatar?
Nope.
Or whatever?
Nope.
Wow,
I did a 15. We did a 15-dayer. That was it.
Damn.
Did he really miss out though? I mean,
I had a blast there, man.
I mean, no, cool. I had fun that one night that I went out in the economy. I got a massage while I was there. The first massage I ever had. And I didn't notice the sign that said wear boxers when you come to it. I didn't own boxers or really underwear at the time. And
so they're just sexually assaulting people.
No, I was in there getting sexually assaulted, man. Like, I lay down on the table. She's like, "You got underwear?" I was like, "No, I don't have any." She's like, "Well, whatever. Get on the table." And this chick, this woman was going to town.
Hey, buddy. Whoa,
on massaging.
Hey.
No.
Okay,
No.
I'm just saying.
No, I know what I'm saying. No, nothing crazy.
Straight to
but she had these fingernails on her.
Where you
listen,
going, lady?
Listen, no. Listen, you gotta understand. My nieces listen to this. I'm not gonna tell any stories like that.
Okay. All right.
No. So she's going to town on on my legs. Like, she's massaging my hamstrings specifically.
Yes.
And she's got these fingernails, and she's very careless with where the area that she was doing, and the fingernails hitting specific things and it hurt really badly.
She's Freddy Krueger over here with the nails, I guess.
With the sack, basically. Yeah, no bueno, man.
Oh man.
But other than that, like, you know, first massage, it was not bad. Like, I felt relaxed, I think. I don't know.
Edwina scissor hands.
Yeah. Yeah, man. But yeah, dude, that was an interesting time. But yeah, man, so he got, if I'm not mistaken, he did get an Article 15 for destruction of government property, because when he came back in country, he couldn't go on mission for like a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I had to have been gone.
Must have been, yeah.
I think I would definitely remember and make fun of that to this day.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's King. King's a good dude.
So,
love King.
What's it
Gotta get into the tough stuff.
Go for it.
What do you remember from the ICDC house?
Razor.
Yeah, Razor, ICDC. Yeah. I remember knocking those canes down. I remember that. That was awful, man. I think everybody tries to forget that.
I had fun with that, man. We used to launch off the top of shit 20, 30 feet.
Yeah,
putting the plywood up.
That was fun.
Starting getting the diesel fuel out, man.
Shooting flares at it.
Yeah.
Hey, folks listening. So
that was a good ass memory.
The ICDC compound, what would later become Patrol Base Razor, set on the bank of the Tigris River. And so along the Tigris River were all these gigantic reeds, basically plants that grow out of water. They get anywhere from 8 feet tall to like 15, 20 feet tall. And they obstructed our view. So we had to clear them out so we could have a better view up and down the Tigris for anybody trying to approach us to the river, which actually did happen, which is why we had to do this. So we tried everything, right? We went out there with machetes, and that was very labor intensive.
Yep.
We like you said, we covered them with JP8 or diesel fuel and then shot flares at them. That was fun.
That was cool.
Stupid. Didn't work.
But didn't work. The most effective tool that we had was sheets of plywood.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. Because we laid them up against the, and what's the standard measurement of plywood? Like a 4x8 or what is it?
Yeah. Usually a 4x8.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. So we lay it up against it, and these reeds would be, 3-4 feet taller than it. We'd push and push and push and push until the plywood was at such an angle that one of us could run up the wall basically on top of it, and then bounce and bounce and bounce and bounce and bounce until the reeds and the plywood were essentially level with the ground. And then we would just repeat out into the Tigris. I mean, I remember there were points where we were over water the entire time. Yeah, I fell into the fucking Tigris, and I remember being like in panic mode because the back of the ICDC compound is where they would execute people and toss them into the river. So there's all this, like, I don't know if y'all remember that this black stuff just kind of like coming from the bottom, emanating from the bottom, and it freaked me the fuck out. That might have been the only time I was afraid of my own life. I was like, oh my God, get me out of this water. I don't want whatever diseases this shit has.
But that was a good memory because I remember people jumping off the top of Humvees, full speed into these reeds trying to knock them down. Like
we were kids,
some
man.
X game type shit, back flipping off of stuff.
Yeah,
30. Like I'm not joking when I say 30, like 20, 30-foot jumps from cliffs into these freaking reeds to try to knock them down. Like it was crazy. It was a lot of fun. I was surprised no one got severely injured.
Well, I was gonna say, you remember when Iribe fucked up his arm?
Well, I said severely.
Yeah, severely. Well, I mean, close enough though. So doing a machete chop, right?
Yeah.
Comes down, chops at some reeds, but then the reeds that he had previously chopped had just like right into his forearm, shredded that shit, man. Basically from wrist to elbow.
So that's pretty severe.
Yeah, that's. I mean, but
severe.
not life threatening.
Nah, shit.
You know.
All right. So
yeah. So yeah. The ICD. Hey, it is what it is, man. It is what it was. It was it was a bad time, but it was also, like you said earlier, you always made positive things come out of negative situations, and that was a negative situation. It's just people did positive things, like made it actually like a game or something, or a challenge, on the trying to get. Yeah, that was pretty rough. I mean, it was hot, it was miserable, and but we had each other, and we took care of business. Yeah, the engineers, man, they had to follow us everywhere because we always had to rebuild.
yeah,
Brasville Mora was pretty much set up when we got there, but Razor wasn't. The engineers had to come in and restructure that whole place, and then they had to come in and do Vonnie. And but yeah, I guess the LCD, I mean the Razor. I guess that's the first time I've ever burned feces and stirred it. I guess, and I got a few pictures of that. Y'all talked about Tinsley, like always being positive. He would, man. He'd always have a smile on his face too. He was always a positive guy. Kept it going. You got Billy Jack with a smile, always keeping it. You got there was a few guys like that. It was just, they were just always not just happy, but just positive and just like, hey, it is what it is, and we're here, and let's not just get all down on each other and get depressed, because that's the worst thing a person can possibly do when they get to that point.
Right.
yeah.
But I mean, that's where I got, man. At the end of Iraq, I was at the point where I just, you almost get into your mind to where I was just like, this is it, man. This is life, and we're not even going home. That's what I thought at one point. I was like, I'm not even going home, man. I'm just gonna, I don't even care what's in the middle of the street anymore. I'm just gonna walk right down the middle of it. And it got to that
absolutely
point.
True, man. You're right,
and,
dude. It really was.
Yeah. We just go knock on people's doors and go straight up to people, and kind of got complacent in that situation, and I found myself in a bad spot about a month out, and also that was during the time when me and Sabrina, we was emailing each other back, and she was even getting a little depressed, and it just played a psychological effect on me where I just like, I just don't care about anything anymore, and I honestly didn't, and Sergeant Gill kind of took me. It first started with me and Sergeant Humphrey. We were on top of a rooftop, and I don't know what had gotten into me that day, man, but I was sitting at the corner of the rooftop, and he just came over there, and he was trying to like talk to me and tell me about some stuff that we were thinking about he was wanting to do when we went, got to the bottom, and just basically tell me what the next mission was going to be and everything. And I was just like, yeah, Roger. He's like, what's going on, man? I was like, I just better off just not even talk to me, man. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. He's like, no, I'm trying to tell you about the mission. I was just like, yeah, I don't really care. I said, well, we just go and, do whatever. We just, just go clear some houses or I don't know what it was, man. It was just something weird. I don't know if anybody else experienced that, but like I said, it could have been some of the supplements I was taking. Maybe that was a little bit mixed in with it. I just got to the point. I just didn't want to talk to anybody much. I didn't want to be around anybody hardly. I think I was just done with Iraq to a point to where I just like, you know what, this is miserable, and I don't know. I don't even know if we're going to go home. I did. I guess I got to a point where I just didn't care anymore. And
you say that was a month out from us being done?
It might have been a month out, maybe been about 2 weeks out, because I remember Sergeant Gill. He kind of came to me. Sergeant Gill kind of came to me, kind of took me under his wing. He was just like, "Hey, why don't you just go on some of the, the right seat rides and left seat rides and all that?" When the new unit was coming in, and I was like, "Hey, whatever I got to do just to get do something different, I'm fine with whatever, Sergeant." And he just kind of he's like, "All right, you going with me?" And that kind of took my mind off things, because it was kind of like it was a switch of, and maybe that's what it was. Maybe I just got complacent, man. I just got to where we were doing the same thing over and over, and I was just tired. I was just like, man, this guy, and that may be a little bit of that ADD stuff, kicking in there, KJ. It may be that where I was just like, I gotta have something new going on. Because always, it was basically going up and sitting on top of rooftops there for the last little bit, just waiting for something to happen. And, you know, sometimes things would happen. You almost got to the point where you hope something did happen. And
Oh,
it
definitely.
was like,
Yeah.
this is boring, you know. And
No.
I don't know if y'all remember this. Let me bring this up. Y'all, we went, you know, there were certain houses that we went to, and we would set up, and you got to the point to where we were going to like houses, you know, people had abandoned or weren't built yet,
Mhm.
still under construction. And we would go and kind of pull our mission there and stuff like that. But there was one in particular that we'd go to, and it was not fully developed yet. And I don't know how many times we'd went there because, you know, we go to certain sections of the city throughout the week when we're doing day missions, and you would wind up at the same place maybe like 2 or 3 days later. And that's just kind of what we did. And then there was one day, though, we were close to that house, and we were actually doing we were doing a traffic control point, TCP.
Mhm.
And I guess we're about, I don't know, 15 minutes into it, sitting there. It wasn't a very crowded spot either. I mean, there wasn't a lot of traffic coming through. And all of a sudden, man, we heard an explosion go off. And sure enough, it was that house. It was right in front, the front door that didn't have a door. It was just an opening. And they had planted an IED, a small one, right underneath like the gravel and dirt going into the opening of that house. And I remember that. Yes, I remember that, man. And I remember thinking, here we are on a TC. We just decided to do something different that day within the same section of the city. And yeah, they were pretty much watching us, and they just assumed maybe we had went inside that house. They just weren't close enough to really see, but we were like just a little bit farther down doing a traffic control point. So yeah, I remember that, man.
That's one of those things, man.
Yeah, I remember Billy Jack. Here's another one. This was awesome, man. Here's one about Billy Jack. We go into a house that's occupied, and of course, we got a courtyard around it. And the mission that day is that our squad was going to this home, and we were going to act like we were searching it and stuff like that. And the Bradleys are going to pull up, kind of like we kind of got the idea, kind of like from the SEAL team that got attached to us towards the end, that like so many would go in, but then only a few would come out, and we would try to trick them because the Bradley would back up to the entry to the courtyard, so you couldn't really see how many people were coming back out, and people would actually stay, like there'd be like a team or a squad stay at that house with the SEAL snipers up on top of the roof, while the team or squad was on the bottom of the house for so many hours at night, just to see if we could see anything suspicious or anybody planting any IEDs or anything.
Yep.
So yeah. So we were doing this one day, but it was during a day mission, and Billy, it was me. I can't remember who all was with us, but Billy Jack was there. And the reason I remember Billy Jack being there is because when we went to the home, we cleared it and everything else like that. The Bradleys left. I mean, they left us there, and we had comms with them, of course, but they were wanting to see if we would notice any activity. So we would go to like the second floor and look out the windows and just observe. And while another team was in the bottom with the family, making sure they were staying in one place, not moving around a lot, probably drinking on some chai at the same time, some hot chai. And then, well, it got to the point, man, to where we were there so long that people were like coming up to the courtyard gate. It was like knocking on it. It was like family members or friends, and we were kind of freaking out a little bit. It was just like, hey, man, we got to do something, Sword. People keep on coming up. We thought maybe they've been trying to figure something, or they knew there wasn't that many of us in there.
Mm-hmm.
So what we decided, our game plan is that Billy Jack's going to dress up like an Iraqi. So we dressed Billy Jack like an Iraqi. And when somebody would come up and knock on that gate, we would follow Billy Jack out, and we would stand behind the gate while he opened it up. And he'd have his, all the way up to his neck, so they really couldn't see him real good. But they would they would kind of come in, and when it was just enough that they would step in. They were thinking it was one of their own that they were pulled in. So, man, I kid you not, there were like 15 people up in that house by the time that Bradley came back. Man, we had pulled people in there, and we're just like, who are you? Of course, they couldn't talk to us. But Billy Jack was playing the role of an Iraqi, man, while we were pulling people in and securing the bottom of the house. That was a pretty cool moment.
Academy Award.
Yeah,
yes.
I would love to hear Billy's take on that, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
he was loving it.
But you got to think though, right? Like either in the moment or in retrospect, like I mean, here you are potentially facing face to face, eyeball to eyeball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The bad guy, you know what I mean? And his job is to answer the door. If they're the bad dude and they're suspicious in any kind of way, I mean, that's like a shit situation turned into a shit situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For Billy, you know what I mean? But as we've mentioned before, Billy was just so fucking chill, dude. Like, so he's the guy for that. You know what I mean?
He had that little smile on his face, man, while we were dressing him up, and he just like, oh, man, and smiling while he's saying it at the same time. And I was like, man, it's all right, Billy Jack. You're gonna do good with this, And he's like, oh, man, I'm just smiling. I'm just like, that's Billy Jack, man.
I know that smile, man, because I can see it in my head, dude. He's like, oh, man. Like, he's almost like, fuck, this is me, but at the same time, like, here we are. You know what I mean? Like, fucking Billy, bro.
Yeah,
I never knew about that. I never knew about that.
Yeah, that's
me neither.
Sergeant Humphrey wouldn't remember it. Yeah, he was our squad leader. So it was a good one, man. That was a good time.
Sergeant Humphrey lives literally like 30 minutes from me.
Really?
Yeah, you guys have just ran into each other randomly a couple times, right?
So his last assignment while on active duty, he was assigned to the University of Arkansas doing essentially what you did, Tyree, with the cadets, or whatever the fuck they are, officer, recruits, all that bullshit. So he was working at the U of A here in Arkansas, and man, I saw something where he had posted about how he's working there. I was like, holy shit, dude, are you in Northwest Arkansas? At the time, I was living in Fayetteville, where the U of A is, and I was like, dude, like that's crazy. Like I'm right down the road from you. So he, but he was busy with the Army doing this and that and whatever else. And, and I'm, living my life and being a shitbag. And he retires from the Army and retires, here in Northwest Arkansas. And I don't live in Fayetteville. He doesn't either, but he lives near there and I live just outside of it. But yeah, he and I live. And what's fucking dumb about it is I still have not hung out with old Sergeant Humphrey.
You're lousy.
He's on the go a lot too, though, man. I mean, him and
he
his
is,
wife,
man.
They travel all the time.
Yes, they do. He is, man. I jealous of his life because he's, he did his time. He served well, served honorably, retired, and he is out there getting it,
living it.
And I'll tell you, Sergeant Humphrey is another one of those dudes that looks identical to how he did, 16 years ago. Man, looks the same.
I remember one time, dude, like I had we were in the barracks and I borrowed a shirt from you. It was like a Razorback shirt. And I'm walking through and he sees me wearing the shirt. He's like, oh, you like Northwest Arkansas football? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, no, the shirt you're wearing. I'm like, oh, no, I borrowed this from Kevin. And I'm like, he's from Arkansas. This is his shit. I don't give a fuck about Arkansas.
Whoa.
Man, he got so pissed off. Like, I thought, like, seriously, we had beef, like a slight beef after that, because I didn't really understand how Arkansas he was, like, to the core.
Yeah, man.
You should hit him up sometime.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, man.
So let's continue. Stan, we're almost done. We're almost done.
For it.
Are we?
What else you got?
Actually, let's get into
Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge, and then we'll go into the end of you leaving Iraq.
Baton Rouge. Yeah. Well, we came into that out of Razor. I don't know if y'all remember this. That got brought up yet. as far as I know. But you know, we tried to hit that mission about 2 or 3 different times before we actually went in. Kept on getting called off there for a couple of times. Now, I kept on hearing that it was when they got like, I don't know, if they were like at a round table or whatever, but when they get together, all the pretty much all the commanders and, you know, captains and all that stuff, that they would go over the mission, and if somebody did not know exactly what they were supposed to be doing at that particular moment within the mission, that they would call it off and kind of regroup. But I remember that, like, we lined up. I think we lined up like twice or something like that. And it was like, no, they called it off. We're going to do it again, maybe in a few hours. And then it was like the next night. But I remember that because that's when me and Little Dude, we were kind of hanging out at that time, and we were just like, man, dude, are we ever going to go in? And I was like, hey, man, it may be for a reason. You know, if somebody don't know what they're doing, we definitely don't need to be going in. Mm-hmm. So he's like, yeah, I guess you're right. So, yeah, we roll up in there, and I think we knew I think somebody might have mentioned it before, but everybody knew they were going to, you know, do a IED. Something was going to go off when we first went up in there, and that's when we went up in there. We just sit. Y'all, I don't know if y'all remember that. We just sit for like 30 minutes. I don't know how. Well, it might not have been 30, but it was for an amount of time where we just sit and waited for something to go off, and then finally, sure enough, boom, the first one went off, and then that was kind of vague right there for me to remember the very first. I do remember going sitting there and waiting on the first IED to go off, and when it went off, I don't know if something else happened. I remember hearing some small arms fire, but then I remember them dropping the ramps, and we just started clearing houses, man. And we just went from one house to the next, and then somehow we'd always end up on the same rooftop as another squad or multiple squads. And I don't know, man. That was 3 days of – that was a long 3 days, long 3 nights. And I remember us meeting up on the rooftop of right in front of the or the building, at least, right in front of the graveyard. You remember the graveyard?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was kind of a showdown right there for a little while.
That whole graveyard extended a pretty good distance, man, because at one end is where the ODA compound was, where we had, or as some folks remember at Fob Casino, where we had that particular firefight that lasted about a day or a day and a half, whatever it was. But I know it extended further down the opposite direction. You know, and there were various houses along the way, and I know there was a lot of fucking skirmishes that happened through there, which is crazy to think about, man. I don't know. It's just that was an interesting spot. I feel like there was a lot of things that happened through there, but those things that you're talking about, where we did, we would set up, you know, get in position to roll in or whatever, and then call it off. So those I think were part of the probing missions to kind of make the bad to kind of like to
throw
keep
them off.
Yeah. Like we did the ones where we would move across the dam and figure out where the defenses were. That's when we dropped that 500-pound bunker buster on the one building, and which is on YouTube, by the way. If you look up 500-pound bomb in Samarra, Samarra, Iraq, there's a video of it on there where that bomb hits that building, detonates, as seen through night vision on an Abrams.
I'm actually way ahead of you on our Facebook page. If you look at the videos, those videos are there.
Oh, you already posted it?
Cool. Yes, I did.
So, you can also go to the Facebook page before I forget and find that video there. It's a really cool video, honestly, because it's especially when you think about, like, from our perspective, because we were what we call danger close. Like, danger close is used to refer to, like, when you are within a certain blast radius of a particular explosive, depending on the size. So if you're within a dangerous distance from point of impact for that particular explosive. And when that went off, our platoon, 2nd Platoon, and Sergeant Rojas' tank, we were danger close. Like we were just across the canal from us. So I would, from what I remember right, I remember the building very clearly because it was directly to my 12 where I was pulling security. That building was maybe 400 meters across the canal, and then the building. So, and then obviously when they dropped it, we had to button up, which means, get into our vehicles, close all the hatches, etc., so on. Button up, and bomb hits, detonates, destroys this fucking place, and you can just feel the concussion from this blast and just the vibrations of the explosion just moving through the ground and the earth and the Bradley in your body. It was pretty surreal, being like, holy shit, that's wild. And I just got to physically experience that. But like what you're talking about, that was, I think, honestly, I feel like that was more of like a setup, being like, okay, we're moving. No, we're not. You know what I mean? Like a teaser.
And maybe it was. That's a pretty good idea. I mean, if that's where they were playing it, because I mean, it definitely threw them off because it took them a little while to react, especially when we came in. To the city that morning.
Yeah, because we hit. I mean, we moved in midnight, October 1st. We're rolling in, and I don't remember having contact immediately. It took a bit, at least from our end, but yeah, it was very well played. And for folks listening who are familiar with the battle that took place in Fallujah in November of 2004. And I think Tyree, I think we've talked about this in previous episodes, but like the Operation Baton Rouge was the mission, the battle plan that set up what was going to happen in Fallujah the month later. To see it was even possible to do something like this. And I say this, we're talking about this as if it was only just 126 infantry that did the whole thing. We had lots of people assigned to us, or assigned to the task force that moved in on this.
I would love to hear from a different unit.
Yeah, man. Like, I can't wait until we can get some of these guys from Charlie Company's 2nd of the 108th, or maybe if we can find somebody from the 25th Infantry Division that was there for that one company. I know there were some other guys there. I just can't remember the units. It's actually, there's a Wikipedia page, and I think it outlines all who was involved in that. But pretty wild, man. And if I'm not mistaken, pretty historic. Which is, and also kind of the point, right? Like of our podcast. But like, we were there for that, and then to think that like that was it went off so well that they were like, yeah, no, this could work in Fallujah. Fallujah was a bit more of a pain because larger city. It was a stronghold, unlike Samara. Samara was a stronghold, but not near as bad as Fallujah was. And Fallujah and our the Allied forces that went in there, the Army, Marines, and Navy SEAL teams, they experienced some pretty heavy resistance and some casualties. Unlike or not to the level that we did, or I'm sorry, beyond the level that we did. But still, man, it's wild to think that like, hey, let's test it out on these guys. We were the guinea pigs.
Yeah, it worked though. I mean, we rocked the house for 3 days, and next thing you know, we're wound up in Uvalde, and then you got General Casey coming in, being like, "Hey, good job, guys."
Clanking coins.
I got to meet him and Sergeant Major with Sergeant Gill. We went down there and they rolled in.
The 1st Infantry Division Sergeant Major, right?
Yes, it was the he was over the I think he was over the whole the stage there in Iraq. Wasn't that General Casey? I think he was like maybe. Is that not him? Yeah,
no,
he rolled in. He had the aviators on that day when he rolled in, because Sergeant Gill took me down there with him. Had the old aviators on, come up in there. Very first person he sees, Rockefeller, how's it going? Coming over there and shaking hands, and they were giving the old salutes and all that stuff. But I got a coin from his sergeant major. I forget who that guy was, but anyway.
You know what'd be great? You know what'd be great? we were talking about coins. If we had people post pictures of their coins,
oh yeah,
when they bring them up,
Yeah, I only got 4. So
still post a picture of them.
yeah.
Well, wait. You don't got Facebook.
Have
Sabrina does.
your wife
She
do
can
it.
do it.
Yeah, have her do it.
Yeah, she can do it. Yeah, I got one from Kosovo, and yeah, I got a bunch of them here.
Yeah, hey, folks listening, if you've got coins, post them to our page.
Yeah, we want to see them. Post a picture and explain how you got it.
Yeah. That's even better. I like
okay,
that.
So all right. So Baton Rouge is a smashing success. We're going to get up out of Iraq. We took a bunch of pictures. I know we just jumped over a big piece here, but time says what it says. We took a bunch of pictures when we landed in Germany. What were you thinking in those pictures?
Pictures. I don't even know if I've seen those pictures, man. I mean, I don't know what
at the time that we landed back in Germany after the deployment was done. We're done. We're back home.
Yeah. Well, I actually got a video of us on the C-130, right?
Yeah.
On the way back, I got a video of us. Me sitting beside Sergeant Humphrey, and we got our beanies on and everything. Man, we're just sitting there and we're just everybody screaming and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, we coming home. I need to get that video, send it out. Get Sabrina to send that out. But I just remember, man, I was just kind of like, I remember like when we got to the gymnasium. I think that's what it was. It was like a big gymnasium they took us into. And I was like, man, where's my wife, man? I'm looking for my wife. And I hate to say it, man, but I think Sergeant Ott and them kind of dropped the ball on the wives thing because, mine and Sergeant Humphrey's wife wasn't even there because they were told that we were going to be coming in. It was like 30 minutes or an hour later or something like that. Yeah, they weren't even there, man. So I got to, so Sergeant Humphrey's like, hey, man, let's just, we'll just get a taxi and just head on back because we lived in the same apartment building. And I remember getting there, man, and I remember opening the door, and I was literally, man, my body was shaking. I don't know if it was just because of the shock of everything being over and just your mind just starting to, run away, or if it was just nervousness, seeing my wife again for 6 months, and then what all we had been through within that 6 months, and because I saw her in August, and then coming back in February, I was literally like, when I picked her up, I mean, I was just shaking all over. So I don't know what that was, but anyway, it was something. But I was like, man, I got to get a shower, and she's like, nope. And I was like, yep. Well, we'll just shower later then. But anyway, so yeah, it was just that's crazy, man, to think about, because I think about that randomly. And that was the end of it. That was pretty much the end of it.
Yeah.
You come to an end of a shared brotherhood, relationships. I think we were just so exhausted, and some were staying in, so they weren't really thinking about that. We were so young at the same time and just wanted to kind of be done with it. Because, there were talks. I remember talks going around when we were still at Brassville Mars sometimes pulling security, that they were, you had those extensions. And everybody's just like, man, we're going to get extended another 6 months. We're going to be here for 18 months. And just for all of it coming to an end like that, I don't think anybody really realized until that day that we met out at the gazebo behind the barracks, and they handed off the glasses. I think maybe they were like a beer stein or something. It was something
beer, steins. Yeah.
And Sergeant Baggett, man, I'll never forget him like running up to me, and I was heading out. I mean, that was my last time to see all y'all, and I was just kind of like saying my goodbyes and everything like that. And I remember Sergeant Baggett like running me down, and on the other side of the barracks when I was headed towards the car with my wife in it, and he was just like, "Hey, Snapper, man, I just want to tell you, I really appreciate you being over there." And I was just kind of like, hey, it just kind of hit me right there. I just got chills. I was like, that's it. It's over. Yeah. That part of my life. And so it's just, I think it's one of them things I wanted to take in, but I couldn't take it all in because we were, so much going on about ETSing and all that, and at the same time just trying to do something different with my life. But, you know, the stuff that I took for granted, or maybe other soldiers take for granted when they go somewhere like that and go through an experience like that. I remember, like, in Iraq, everybody's like, "Hey, man, you know, what do you?" I was like, "I just want a cheeseburger, man. I just want an American cheeseburger." Or I just, you know, I can't wait. I remember telling my wife, because she had picked out a home for us at that time, and she was just kind of like, you know, "What are you going to do?" I was like, "I'm going to mow the grass." I said, "That's exactly what I'm going to do. I just can't wait to mow the grass." It was just weird stuff like that would pop up randomly for me. And that's the stuff you take for, the simple things that you take for granted. Because when I got here, after about 2 months of mowing the grass, I was like, "Hey, I don't care about mowing the grass much anymore." You know, I just rather somebody else do it. But, you know, I don't know, man. It's just odd things like that. Just like the smells, I can tell you, you know, the Red Zone, Old Spice, and the I remember everybody's got to know, you know, me and my smells, man. I like smell goods. But anyway, Pantene shampoo, dude. I brought Pantene shampoo to Iraq, and I would wash. When I'd go in and take a shower at Brassville Moore, I would wash my PTs, because that's what we slept in when we had some downtime on the cots. I would put my PT uniform on, and it smelled like Pantene. So every time I smell Pantene, man, here, I think of Brassville Moore.
Really?
Every time I hear Usher, Confessions CD, that was huge at that time, man. Every time I hear it, you know, I start thinking about Iraq. I think about being in the connexes and cleaning our weapons after a mission. That's the very first thing we need to do, was to get that weapon clean, and or sitting back and listening to like Nickelback or something like that. So, you know, stuff like that.
Jesus.
Yes, I know it. I'm bringing it back, right? But that's the stuff that sticks out to me in my mind, and that I randomly think on, you know, or either some y'all guys, you know, I think about y'all on a random basis, what y'all are doing, what's going on in your lives, but at the same time, you got life going on, and your life takes over, man. It's like I told you at the very beginning of the first podcast, it's just wide open. Like, there's just no time for anything else. And it's kind of sad that life's like that right now. So it's good to have these podcasts to let it slow down a little bit, to be able to reminisce.
Reconnect, man. Yeah. And
it's a reconnection.
And, you know, paint that bigger picture and you know, man, you know, I think what Tyree and I have been learning about what's what's going on with this is, like, dude, we're having people talk about, like, like they haven't talked about this stuff since then or whatever, and so now they feel more comfortable talking about it. And Sam, I don't know if you've ever had a problem with that. I did for a little bit, you know. And then you kind of get past that, but like I like that it has that effect for folks listening. That, like, I've had people that have been in for, matter of fact, one of the guys in my unit, a guy I really look up to and greatly respect. Like, he's been in for over 30 years, and you know, he came in the Army in the 80s. Mm-hmm. And he's listening to our stories, and he's like, "Man, like, different time frame, exact same story." And that's really neat, man. Because it's stories that stretch across. I wouldn't say that he's outside of our generation, but it's stories that kind of stretch across these generational gaps. And it's I mean, because it doesn't matter when you went to combat, right? Like, you could have gone to Iraq, Persian Gulf, Panama, Grenada, you name it, Vietnam, whenever you went, you know, wherever you went, whatever part of the planet you went to do your job as an American or Marine or airman or sailor / seaman, because that's what they're called. But, you know, it doesn't matter what you did or where you went. The stories are the same.
Yeah.
You know? And that's the best part about this, I think. I mean, obviously it's amazing to reconnect with you guys, because fuck, man, it's been way too damn long. I don't know what we're doing here.
Way too long.
Yeah.
That's what y'all are doing, man. What you've provided, you know, for some of us has already been on, and the ones that's going to come on in the future, is that you've allowed people to have a voice about what they went through, and to let you know what their brotherhood, you know, means to them.
Yeah.
With everybody. So y'all just keep this up, because when Brown sent the first one to me a few weeks ago, and in my job, we're just going through a transitional point within our company, and it was just really stressful because they just had some ideas that was going to kind of take some people's jobs away from them, and we tried to come up with a plan, for that not to happen. And so it was just late nights, and you're just trying to figure things out. It's just stressful. I mean, it's just stressful mentally. And then all of a sudden, Brown throws one of these at me, and I listened to it, and I told him when I texted him, I said, "Man, you just don't even know what the calm you've sent to me today." And I said, "Keep them coming," because during that time, it was about a 2-week span. That's where I found, amongst other things, as far as like my faith and stuff like that. But with these podcasts, man, just listen to them. I could sit there and listen to them all night long, and sit there on the computer and do some work, and not even affect me, because y'all are doing a good thing. So I just want y'all to know that. I know the other guys appreciate it, because I can hear what they say too. So I'm not the only one. But y'all just keep it up, man. And I'm hoping what would be great one day if some of us could meet up, because that would be a hoot.
Yeah.
That would be a hoot.
Yeah, it would be.
great.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Wherever that place would be.
Just
go ahead and shut it down.
Before we get too far into the goodbyes, I got one more question.
Yeah.
Mike, if there is somebody who you would want to hear on our show,
That's a good one,
who would it be?
Oh man, I'll throw out the shouts to all the guys in the platoon. I mean, if you get Hefner, you get, I don't know if Snyder would want to do it. Sergeant Gill would be great. He'll probably bring us some other stuff, though. He's been in so long. He's probably got all kinds of different stories in his mind. But Sergeant Winchester would be great. That was my squad leader when I went. Shout out to him. Yeah, he was my squad leader when I went in to Iraq. So he was awesome. And then, Tinsley would be great. Peeps, need to get Peeps on. Peeps he's got some good stuff.
Oh yeah,
I know he stays busy. Oh yeah, Peeps is good, but all the guys in the platoon, man, I mean, they'd have something to say. And I think Howell would be another good one. But anyway, I don't know what any of them guys are doing, so I hadn't heard from them. But Stern, I think Stern would be a good one if you get outside the platoon. I don't know if anybody can reach him, but he's always one that could remember and bring up some good times. But yeah, man, I mean, there's more stuff that goes through my mind while I was listening to these podcasts. Like, I'll get on there and talk about all that stuff. And I just, you start getting into one event, and then the next one kind of leaves you. But the brotherhood will always be there. So
yeah. Well, and the good thing is, man, is like I don't know that Tyree and I, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tyree and I plan on stopping anytime soon.
No, you don't.
No,
need to,
I mean,
man.
as long as people keep listening. I mean, and we got to start getting feedback from folk. I want to hear what people think. I think the only way that we can improve is if we get feedback. And
for sure,
I think I got to hear that from folks.
For sure, but at the same time, man, like even if people aren't listening, I mean, obviously we're gonna have our dedicated listeners, and we absolutely appreciate that so much to all of you. But at the same time, man, I mean, you never know when it makes a resurgence or whatever, and it's just nice to be able to, because I have this concept in my head, right? That like, the moment that the last, did I talk about the 3 deaths before? In the previous episode?
The 3 what?
3 deaths.
Yeah.
You
got like 3 minutes.
I know. This will be quick. But when you I'm looking at it now. But like when you talk about like when you put this on recording on the internet, it's there forever. And so the legacy of these people that we talk about is there forever. And even if in our lifetime or in our time frame, folks maybe aren't listening, this doesn't mean that like 10 years from now, 15 years from now, that people, or hopefully we live longer than that. So 100 years from now, whatever the fuck the case may be, people are listening to this and they think, fuck, man, like that's some shit. These are interesting stories. You know what I mean? And I think with that in mind, it's important to just keep going until we can't.
Yep.
Yeah. Because, man, I feel like we could talk to fucking Stamper, fucking Rob, to fucking Youngblood, to Mike, to anybody, Doc. You know what I mean? Any of these people, just hours on end, because that's just how it is.
Mm-hmm. Makes my job fun with this whole thing. Try to put it together. Try to get people to get on here.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So on that note, with Kevin, the way you just explained everything, Stan, thanks for coming on. Thank you so much.
I appreciate y'all having me on, brother.
Man,
can't wait to hear the rest that come on after me. So I'll be listening.
And we got 4 hours to go through with you right now.
That's just because I got a big mouth.
Yeah. Oh no, it's good. It's good. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah,
it's,
man.
It's the stories that our kids are going to hear, because at some point, I mean, you're going to want your boys and your girl to hear, kind of a little bit about what you did, but it's straight from your own mouth.
Hey, like I said, dude, being able to sit down with Love's daughter and tell her some stories about her dad, who she looks up to, right? Like he is her hero. So be able to sit down and talk to her about the things that he did while we were deployed, man, such an amazing feeling to see her reaction, the expressions on her face. Like I can't imagine like you guys that have kids. Being able to hear all these stories, later on in life. And I'm actually pretty fucking jealous of it. You know what I mean? So that's pretty rad.
Don't worry. You'll get kids. They'll come. Shit, and, hey, thanks for you guys for tuning in before I forget, have a good one. Please like, share, subscribe. Thank you, Stamper. Share, and y'all have a good one.
Love y'all, brothers. Have a blessed one.
Love you too, man.
Yeah, man.